September is officially over, and it's time to talk about October. But before we get to that, we have to rank all the September films I saw this year. And there's 6 on this list. Now, there's definitely more than August, but this definitely isn't my biggest haul, since July was a couple months ago, and October will be about the same as July, so I'll have a much bigger haul for the next couple months. But this month, we had 6 films. Some of them really great, some of them, well, let's just get into it, shall we? Coming in last place is Dear Evan Hansen. Good God, I hate this movie. I gave it a 1.5, and that was an act of charity. This is awful. The story is overly self-serious and self-indulgent and pretentious as hell. The main character is an unlikable piece of shit, and bringing Ben Platt back was a boneheaded decision, and I didn't realize why they did this. His father's the producer. Yeah, that's why. I can tell that's the only reason they brought his ass back. This is a vanity project, which makes me hate it even more than I did in my review. But even still, had they gotten a new actor, this film would have been terrible. The song sequences are poorly done. The staging is atrocious. The directing is very bland. I don't know why. This is the same director that did Perks of Being a Wallflower. You've got to be kidding me. This director did Perks of Being a Wallflower and Wonder, 2 films that were very highly critically acclaimed. Why did he decide to do this crap? Was it just for a paycheck? Because clearly no effort went into this. There was a new song, apparently, the Alana song, and it's terrible. A lot of the songs I don't particularly care for. And just the acting overall is just bad. Which is surprising because it has some fair amount of talent in here. Honestly, this is one of the worst movie musicals ever made. Possibly the worst. But that's yet to be determined. Coming in at 5th place is Prisons of the Ghostland. I had high hopes for this. I expected this to be at least a fun ride, but overall it just ended up being kind of boring. The first hour of this, nothing really happens, but the last half hour is what I wanted this movie to be. A lot of fun action, and just a lot of weird stuff. You get the weird stuff, but it's not the entertaining kind of weird stuff. There are a few twists in this movie that still don't make a whole lot of sense, but they at least kind of serve the story. The story overall, just nothing kind of happens. It's an hour and a half. I think this would have been better served as a short film. Because then you wouldn't have, an hour of people dicking around in the Ghostlands. Had this been, a 30-minute short film, I think it would have been better off. But as is, it's a okay movie. It could have been worse. Nicolas Cage is always fun. Butella's great, but honestly, all of the other characters are annoying or incompetent and extremely unlikable. Outside of the one samurai dude, who is still awesome and still my favorite character in the movie. Bringing us into 4th place is My Little Pony: A New Generation. The fact that this got a fresh score is freaking hilarious. Because, again, why on earth would I watch this outside of for a review? I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't have, but I'll be damned if there weren't some good things in here. Yeah, the dialogue is terrible most of the time. Yeah, the story is kind of anemic, but at least it kind of makes sense within the world, but overall it's just kind of a weird story. And yeah, that seems to be the main problem, is in the writing department. The pacing is actually okay. Nothing feels like it drags, but it never rushes through anything. The message beats you on the head, but at least it's an okay message. The voice acting is very good, especially out of James Marsden, who is definitely the best actor and best character in the film with Hitch. The songs are okay. They could use some work. For a film like this, they're passable. Except for the one rap segment in one of the songs, but up to that point it was fine. And all the actors do their best, and it has a lot of legit talent in this. Vanessa Hudgens, James Marsden, Sophia Carson, Ken Jeong. It's got some good actors here, and they do what they can with this dialogue, but unfortunately it's dragged down by the kiddiness of it, the childish nature of a lot of this. A lot of people don't understand how prejudice actually works, and it seems like these writers don't really either. Because they just seem like, it's just based off. They're never really given much of a reason. Because it's all based on BS misunderstandings, and it's kind of like that episode from Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Great Divide, that piece of crap episode. If what Aang said was true. Yeah, we're on that level. Bringing us into our top 3 is Amazon's Cinderella. Why was this... This movie was passable. That's the best way I can describe this one. It was passable. I gave it a 3.4. I guess I still stand by that. The acting's all good. The songs are actually pretty decent. I didn't mind the songs in this movie. The singing's all great. Unfortunately, the main problem lies, again, in the writing department, and a bit in the casting department, too. I think Camila Cabello did an okay job in this role, but I think she was miscast. I think there were probably other actors out there who probably could have played this role a bit better. I think Idina Menzel as the wicked stepmother was okay. Again, I think there are better casting choices you could have gone with, but she did alright. The stepsisters are incredibly inconsistent, as well as the stepmother, actually. They're incredibly inconsistent in terms of personality, and motives flip around like a cook flipping a burger. That was a terrible analogy. That was a terrible analogy. Let me try that again. They flip around more than Master Yoda in a lightsaber duel. There, that one's less ridiculous. I need a second to recover from that terrible analogy. Okay, back into it. All of the princess side of the story is actually all the story stuff, all the updates. Well, most of the updates are pretty good. I didn't care for the father's character, played by Pierce Brosnan. He plays the role pretty well, and honestly, the joke that he can't sing is freaking hilarious. I love how self-aware that was. And all the other actors can sing, at least. The people who are supposed to be singing well do sing well. They didn't stick any painful Emma Watson, Seth Rogen, or Emma Watson autotune on them, or cast someone who can't sing, like Lion King did with Seth Rogen. But, again, the motivations flip around. None of the characters... all the side characters are completely uninteresting. A lot of the casting is way off. Whose idea was it to cast a guy in the role of the fairy godmother? Whose idea was this? And whoever's idea that was needs to be fired. That was a stupid idea, and the guy was kind of obnoxious, I'm not gonna lie. And this movie is, of course, brought down... This could have honestly gotten a really high score, if not for the presence of James Corden. I hate James Corden, and he automatically brings the score down in anything he's in. Even if the movie's great, and I haven't seen him in anything good, so that balances that out at least. In second place is Notebooks. I was kind of surprised by how good this was. I really enjoyed this film. And this usually isn't the kind of movie I would enjoy. All the acting is pretty good. The child actors do a surprisingly great job with their roles. And I like how the kids act like real kids. They snap, they break, they swear, They act realistically. They're not annoying, they're not naive, they're not incompetent. Yeah. I don't know what I was going to say next. Kristen Ritter does brings it up to 11 with The Witch most of the time. That is one of the problems I have. Kristen Ritter is a great actress. She does really well in this role, but she can't figure out if she wants to stay, like, subdued or over the top. And honestly, either one's fine, but you gotta pick a lane. And I do kind of like how this is very subtly an updated version of Hansel and Gretel. And this is much better than the last one we got, which was also made by Netflix, conveniently, which was Secret Magic: A Troll Agency, which was terrible. And, yeah, the sets are well designed. The effects looked pretty good. The cat looked kind of wonky, but I explained why I gave that a pass in my reviews. So go watch that if you want to know why I give that a pass. The jokes are kind of hit and miss, but when they work, they do work. But I do feel like some scenes dragged on too long, and I didn't particularly care. And I think the stories that he read, I think that should have been more of a main focus, considering it's called Nightbooks, but it seems kind of like an afterthought by the halfway point of the movie. And coming in first place, of course, is ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. What else would this have been? This movie was fantastic. I'm a huge Marvel fan, obviously. I'm a huge superhero movie fan. So most superhero movies, I at least try to like. I tried to like Justice League. I tried to like the Suicide Squad, but I just couldn't. But this is the kind of stuff I like. You know, good movies. Everything in this movie just seems to click. The cast all clicks when it comes to their chemistry and their performances. The action, probably some of the best action the MCU's had. And that's saying a lot, because the action is very good in most MCU films. some of the early films are kind of hit or miss when it comes to the action, especially ones like Incredible Hulk. That one had some pretty bad action to it. But again, the music works. The story, everything comes together. The villain is one of the best in the MCU. And yeah, the joke that MCU had no good villains, that's bullshit. Even the first few phases, they had Red Skull, they had Ironmonger, which was a good villain. Come on, they had Loki, they had Winter Soldier, they had Ultron. What the fuck were they talking about? Zemo was good. So the argument they had no good villains was already bullshit. But their villains seemed to crank it up when they got to Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and it kept going up until Captain Marvel kind of killed it. And then Avengers Endgame got Thanos back, and then Spider-Man Far From Home got Mysterio. And then Black Widow had Taskmaster, which was great until the twist. And this one has one of the greatest villains in the genre as a whole. You look at some of the great villains of the superhero movie genre, who do you think of? Dark Knight's Joker? Okay. Superman the movie's Lex Luthor? Sure, that works. Thanos from Avengers Infinity War, Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Hela from Thor Ragnarok. Hell, I don't really like Spider-Man Homecoming, but Vulture was a great villain. And for me, a lot of other people don't, but the Lizard from Amazing Spider-Man, the superhero movie genre needs a good villain, and this one has one of the best. He has a great motivation, and the action sequences work to demonstrate his power level. I love this movie, and I can't wait for a sequel to it. So that's all we got for September. I'm super looking forward to a lot of movies coming up in October. I already reviewed Dune, so I may do like a second thoughts on it if I watch it. I may watch it again when it hits HBO Max. If I do, I may give a second thoughts on the movie, because already my thoughts are starting to change. The movie makes less and less sense the more I think about it, and the number might deteriorate a bit. It might go from 3.9 to it's at a 3.9 now, it might get lower. But tonight I'm going to see a Venom Let There Be Carnage. I'm super excited for that. What else we got? We also got Muppets Haunted Mansion coming to Disney Plus, and I'm a big Muppet fan, so that'll probably be good. Ron's Gone Wrong. Okay. Halloween Kills. Not a huge horror movie fan, but it might be good. Injustice. That could go either way. Last Night in Soho. Interesting. And Hotel Transylvania 4. No. I hate the first three. And I know you're probably wondering, if you hate the first three, why'd you put the fourth one on there? Damn it. That was a stupid idea. I knew it was going to happen. Why did I do that? I knew that was going to happen. I hit the freaking thing next to my tripod, and I knew the camera was going to shift. I knew that was going to happen. Why did I do that? Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Subscribe for more reviews, rankings, and rants. What films did you see in October, and how would you rank them? Or how would you rank the ones I saw? You can go in the comments, rank the ones I saw. You can add in ones you saw. What other September films came out? Did you see, like, what were the other films? Card Counter? What the fuck was that? I don't know. I kind of lost track of the September movie set. Yeah, that's all I got. And you'll excuse me, I have to go get ready for Venom 2. Yay! That's the Spider-Man shirt, obviously.